Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the conclusion of this week's Hearthstone Grandmasters matches as we have Eddie versus bloodyface, two players who have kind of been the most consistent in Americas, and it's only fitting that in our books, at least in my books, TJ ranked number 1 and 2 in this region, end up facing in the final 2 spots. The bans are in. The deck spotlight for today, Turtle Mage, it's been banned, TJ. No more games where maybe bloodyface feels cornered.
Woo!
Instead, it'll be Priest, Demon Hunter, and Warrior for Eddie's side.
Yeah. I feel like bloodyface could theoretically have another ban. Like, he could ban Bomb Warrior in this matchup and, like, be okay, but with how much proficiency Eddie has shown with the Turtle Mage and how just kind of sometimes downright annoying it can be to play against this deck, and it can kind of take away your agency as a player, I'm not surprised to see it banned away. I even think that in the last series they played, he did ban Warrior when they played through, right?
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken.
It could just be an evolving ban because of the way he's watching some of the matchups play out. Because, we are on a delay on stream for people who are watching live as opposed to the VOD. And so some players like to watch long, but when they're like called ahead of time, like, hey, the match is about to begin, they usually don't watch like the last games. I think the Eddie Monsanto games was like long enough for at least bloodyface to watch what Eddie Face's deck was capable of before he had to go for his check-in time.
Yeah, he banned Warrior last time.
Right, and it's very clear that the way Eddie's approaching this specific deck is unlike the other GMs. He's the only player brave enough to bring it, which already should get attention, right? Like, clearly Eddie feels like there's something with this deck that he's willing to risk having a good start in week 1 and throwing it all away and, botting him out. And he was even tweeting during his break how he was prepping with Monsanto, and Monsanto was trash-talking the Mage, saying it was a free deck. And it felt extra good to beat Monsanto, a practice partner, by the way.
Yeah.
So these dudes obviously are in good spirits and on friendly terms. It's just really fun to see. And now Eddie kind of carries not only, of course, that practice group's hopes and dreams, but he's the last Canadian remaining against bloodyface, who's just been the America's superstar in the past 18 months or so.
Yeah. Kind of hard to stop him. And yeah, looking back on it, on second glance, Eddie 3-0'd him with the Mage when they met in the group stage on Friday. So yeah, I think that warrants a change in strategy. When you leave the Mage up and it 3-0s you. I'd rather play against Bomb Warrior and get swept by that. Not saying that that's going to happen, but... All right, bloodyface... think about just playing a 3-2 here, tempo.
Yeah.
Makes sense. He's got a lot of removal in hand already. He could play the Spirit Jailer first, but he doesn't really want to fall behind on board. Because in this matchup, Bomb Warrior doesn't really build a board, right? They can have a board, but a lot of times their boards are reactive. They're playing Risky Skipper, Armor Smith, etc. to try and react to your turns. They're not playing too many minions proactively. And so if you do fall behind on board, you're end up falling into this trap where you have to start trading these big bursts of damage into minions, which never feels good and doesn't further your own game plan. So I kind of just like playing the 3-2. If Eddie wants to wrench caliber this down, by all means, take the 3 damage, use the coin, be my guest.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of opportunities here for Eddie to find. He looks super stressed, or I guess torn by some of his decisions here, and I think you can make an argument for several of them. I think that when you anticipate this deck to burst pretty heavy, I do feel like with the Armor Smith in hand, that Risky Skipper line seems just a little better to me as well. So I agree with what Eddie's going to do here. He doesn't get rewarded. He doesn't have the Risky Skipper yet, but with Ankar having 3 charges, it eventually will pay off, I think.
Yeah. All right, so Lord Caper Polkit is going to make bloodyface's turns really awkward, because if he plays it this turn, he's guaranteed to draw Sociologist. Actually, it's not too bad, because if he plays it this turn, he draws Sociologist next turn, and then Skull on the turn where he would be able to outcast the Skull. The issue is, if he spends his 4 mana doing that this turn, what does his next turn look like? Because he didn't play Spirit Jailer, can't play Soul Shard Lapidary, and so if he plays the Lore Keeper this turn, it would mean he would have a completely dead turn next turn. Well, he could play a 5/5, but I feel like the Lapidary is too important to the overall game plan of the deck that you can't just play it at a 5/5. You kind of need to move forward. So it looks like he's going to go Spirit Jailer, then Lapidary, and then think about Polket once he sort of gets past those turns. Polkelt. A weird name.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how good the Lore Keeper is as well. So I've been seeing its situations play out very nicely where you need to get, Skull Eagle Dan, and then you already have Sociologist in hand, so you'll be able to get resources. I've also seen Lore Keeper kind of do a whole lot of nothing sometimes. So I think that's definitely one of the cards I was evaluating a lot when kind of getting some games in and figuring out whether or not that's like an optimal card for the build. Armorsmith and the Brisky Skipper connection finally been made here. Eddie finds an opportunity to swing a little bit of the board. Soul Shattered Mystic has already been played. And now the turn 5 here from bloodyface, not looking super nice outside of this I-Beam. Guess he could I-Beam and Hero Power and play Volpera's Scoundrel and see what cards he gets.
Yeah.
Okay.
If power is what you seek, knowledge is what I
Okay,
demand.
so he even though he's not drawing Skull next turn, he is drawing the Sociologist. He does have plays next turn now. He has Soul Fragments in his deck. And the Red Caliber's played anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It does feel like sometimes you could set up all this stuff with Lore Keeper and then it just kind of gets thrown away. The dynamic of these Soul Fragments of how you shuffle things in are also pretty interesting. Either way, I guess bloodyface just basically played for tempo that turn and there was no like real big punish on it.
Yeah. And maybe he doesn't want to draw. Sociologist in the Skull. No, there's very, very, very rare time when you don't want to draw 2 of the best cards in your deck. With this play now, does get to get at least the Skull that was in his hand into outcast position, so that can kind of get the ball rolling. But I mean, Eddie feels like he has a lot of the boxes checked right now. He's got removal for minions that are played on board. He can keep swinging because he has the Horde Pillager. He even has like Marrow Slicer and Aldraki Warblades checked because he has Kobold Sticky Finger. So now he just kind of needs to find the additional damage, find the weapon buffs so that this Wrench Caliber is going to... Actually, no, Horde Pillager is 50-50 right now.
Yeah.
So not a guaranteed way, but...
Well, too bad there's no real playable cards this turn that you'd want to commit to. I don't think Twin Slice is something you want to play at the moment. So bloodyface, I guess it's good that he drew those cards. That way he's not drawing them later. Wrench Caliber comes into the hand again after the Horde Pillager pulls it up from the ruins. And I guess also good for bloodyface. He didn't draw any bombs during the Skull Eagle Dam. That would be kind of catastrophic. I think Volpera's Scoundrel here definitely should be something. Oh, he has the Acidic Swamp who's ready to go as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Volpera's Scoundrel could help him craft a little bit better of a game plan here since he doesn't have Inner Demon. That's a game plan.
Wow.
That's the one right there. Probably the best choice from Volpera's Scoundrel, like in a nutshell, like in a vacuum, for this deck, just because it does both the things your deck wants to do. It heals for an insane amount with Aldraki Warblades equipped, and 2, it deals an insane amount of damage with anything equipped.
Wow, does not even want to waste any of the damage. Going face. And then Eddie with the Kobold Sticky Finger able to steal that weapon right back, which has got to be annoying for bloodyface, but also somewhat expected with how much weapon destruction has been coming out here in the meta.
Yeah.
And also having used the blade dance here has just been really inconvenient for bloodyface.
He can consume magic to stop the armor gain, but right now, bloodyface. Oh yeah. Woo! That's the one. That's the stuff right there. Wow. Doesn't even pick up any skulls or any soul fragments. So he gets all of these at minimum cost. Doesn't pick up any bombs either. So with both armor smiths gone, bloodyface just has to say, okay, it's about face damage right now.
Twin Slice, Twin Slice, Twin Slice, Inner Demon seems to be the most damage he can generate from hand, which would be 14 damage.
Nice.
If he wants to layer in a couple of turns of that with like Kane and the other Twin Slice, the hero power, that's an additional 6. So he's a few points short, it looks like.
Yeah.
From like a 2-turn kill.
And Aldraki Warblades with Dr. Krasinov is going to make his clock even longer.
Yeah.
That's if Eddie wants to. This will draw a Wrench Caliber, this Corsair Cache. So maybe he's not super sold on, all right, and I'm just going to maximize healing. Maybe he actually does want to and just start shuffling bombs.
What I like about the Dr. Krasinov, Dr. Krasinov can't attack because of the Risky Skipper.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
He needs to actually just equip the Wrench Caliber or swing with the Aldraki Warblades.
And then equip Wrench Caliber?
Then equip Wrench Caliber. The nice thing is that he could actually play Dr. Krasinov right now, kill off the board, establish tempo, and then swing at the Wrench Caliber next turn, but he's sort of already indicated his next step very clearly to bloodyface by playing that Corsair Cache. So bloodyface knows for a fact this is the hand.
Okay.
All right. Bloodyface needs to dodge bombs. There's a lot in this deck right now. Marrow Slicer. I mean, that's a full board of souls that can rush out with Sociologist Militia.
And shuffling these soul fragments in not only gives the additional souls with rush, but at the same time kind of offsets the bomb damage a little bit. Because now he has as many soul fragments in the deck as he has bombs. So each bomb, you know, on average is going to deal like 3 damage. So he's got a little bit more life to work with. All right.
Yeah. I mean,
so
he's
from hand,
maximizing his damage. Brawl up the top. Eddie,
from hand, right?
He's trying to. Oh, no armor gain. Yeah, I don't think he's anticipating the Inner Demon at all.
Yeah, there's 4, 7 plus 8.
Bombs.
That's 15. Bombs, yes, but he also has soul fragments. All right, there it is.
Wow.
I think there were 6 bombs a deck.
Oh my gosh. And that's going to do it.
Damage from nowhere. Holy moly.
Bloodyface gets game number 1 victory under his belt and starts off this series on the right foot. Being able to beat the Warrior, which is generally a class that still is able to handle aggression pretty well. And kind of surprising to see Warrior struggle against some of these aggro decks this weekend.
Yeah.
It does seem like it's a combination of players who are getting their outs, right? Like, it does seem like some of these aggressive game plans are hitting outs. It's like Rogue with Secret Passage doing really big stuff, or Demon Hunter getting Inner Demon off of a Vulpera Scoundrel, getting major damage boost that way. But it does make me feel like maybe Warrior's a little overrated with how good their anti-aggro is. And it's interesting because if you ask region to region, there's big differences there. And I'm sure that the other players would start to talk about player differences. saying that maybe it's the fact that America's Warrior player is not nearly as sharp as other regions, but it's definitely just some interesting questions for discussion that's being brought up here with some of the win rates coming in to today.
Yeah. I mean, the Warrior is very one-dimensional. Outside of Blastmaster Boom, there isn't really threats in the deck. So your damage comes from weapons and bombs in most games, almost entirely. And if your opponent dodges bombs on crucial turns, you a lot of times you just will run out of removal and run out of things to do. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the downfall of the deck. You have so many utility cards, so many ways to support your weapon, so that if your opponent's not drawing bombs and you're just drawing support cards, then you don't have an alternate win condition. And weapon destruction just completely ruins your deck. So Eddie will turn to the Priest in order to combat this Soul Demon Hunter. This is a Priest with double weapon hate. And in a lot of cases, even more than that, as we saw happen in the matchups yesterday, where it, who was it? Against Briarthorn, the last match.
This ends now.
From yesterday?
Was it? Yeah, it was Monsanto.
Monsanto,
Right?
yeah.
Where he played, for the first weapon, he played Zephyrs into Ooze. Both those minions died.
Yes.
He raised dead them. So he got another Zephyrs and Ooze. Then Zephyrs oozed again the second weapon. Then played his natural ooze for the third weapon. And then played a Kobold Sticky Finger for the fourth weapon. Or something along those lines. He destroyed 5 weapons, I think, throughout that game. Destroyed/stole 5 weapons throughout the game, playing this. I'm pretty sure this exact list. If they practice together especially, it's the exact list. So, Bloodyface does rely a lot on weapons with this Demon Hunter matchup. Marl Slicer is a good chunk of damage. Aldraki Warblades is a decent chunk of damage, but can also try and help you stabilize later on in the game. With the amount of weapon destruction and just like heal over time that this Priest has, it can combat the Demon Hunter. Though, its weakness is that it doesn't necessarily have great ways to play proactively, which means that you're letting the Demon Hunter have a ton of time. You're letting the Demon Hunter have a ton of turns to set up their big burst.
Okay. Well, from here, Bloodyface kind of thinking. I'm just thinking about like how he wants to set things up because he doesn't have a very fast hand, and the Priest has so much anti-weapon tech. And I mean, kind of going back into a little bit of discussion here, as Bloodyface clearly is thinking about if he wants to remove or just kind of pass it with the hero power. Is that a lot of times these win rates are largely influenced by the bans and how you're teching the lineups to beat it, right? Like Warrior, if it's let through, because I think it's drawn the most bans this weekend out of any class by a pretty significant margin. It looks like it's twice as banned. It's twice as much banned than the next highest class, which is Priest. Which means that people that leave Warrior through tend to have cards and decks that are tilted against it. And then Warrior still having a positive win rate is actually a good sign. But that being said, the tournament meta seems extremely balanced, as 6-7 classes nearing the 50% win mark, and those that aren't near that still have competitive games. Like Demon Hunter actually has a losing record, but as we see, still actually performing decently well for a handful of players that are able to get to the top 4 with it. It is very intriguing, DJ, all these trends.
Last year's standing, yeah, it seems like decks kind of mold closer to 50%. As opposed to Conquest, just because of the whole Q, counter Q kind of situation. Actually, caveat to that, if players are assembling their lineups properly and understanding the meta correctly, then last year's standing should squish things closer to 50%. There's weapon destruction numero uno.
I mean, this is the beginning of what Priest is going to do, and it might get a lot worse as well before it gets better for Bloodyface. And I mean, this could be just one of those things that like Demon Hunter maybe just be unprepared for this week because everyone has strategies to beat Warrior and therefore accidentally hit Demon Hunter. Maybe not accidentally. A lot of players have clearly put a ton of thought into it to the point where they understand that this is good against Warrior and Demon Hunter, but it does feel like these games become super one-sided once these weapon destruction or weapon stealing gets dropped because you lose so much value and tempo from everything that you invested in by playing things like Marrow Slicer.
I mean, bloodyface's facial expression kind of tells me a lot about how he thinks this matchup's going to go. Though there is still hope, right? Well, Pure Scoundrel's a card that can change things. Just having Skull hit some really impactful tools. Like the goal here for this Demon Hunter deck is either to get off to this like big start where you're just consistently pushing medium bursts of damage, or assemble resources and then go for a couple turns of huge burst damage. The problem becomes if you try and assemble too many resources, then Mindrender or Lucia can kind of ruin everything. And then two, if you're just trying to assemble resources, it lets the priest kind of develop onto the board, and they can use like Apotheosis to kind of re-heal back up the big burst of damage that you're trying to accomplish. A true OTK is not possible.
It just really doesn't stop, huh, TJ?
Nope.
The weapon destruction, they just keep on coming.
I think
as the
no,
great
that's not the
Smash
end
Mouth
because there's
once
a natural
said.
ooze. What did he say?
He said, the ooze don't stop coming.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm trying to. It's again. It feels like these priest decks are specifically tilted for blowout victories, which is kind of what Last Hero Standing encourages, right? You want to make sure, sure that if you queue up a deck into a really powerful class, that you beat it. This is what we're talking about with like the Freeze Mage and Control Warrior dynamic. It just makes sense that he's trying to crush. Now that being said, bloodyface is still putting on as much pressure as he can. He still has Soul Fragments. He still has the ability for Volpero Scoundrel to maybe find more damage. And so Eddie, he's kind of done disrupting, but definitely needs to figure out a game plan to heal eventually.
I think the game plan here is you play Galakron this turn. If you play Galakron this turn, Kronks can be a form of heal.
Sure.
And you don't need to worry about losing your hero power, because by playing Galakron, you also open up a better possibility to play Mindrender, so then your opponent can't steal your Galakron. And you're kind of giving them garbage at this point. Look at the rest of his hand. And then you can like dump the rest of his burst damage with Mindrender in order to make up for the fact that you're giving up your priest hero power. So I actually kind of like the Galakron here. I don't like Mindrender for the exact reason I mentioned, because then your opponent just takes your Galakron.
Sure, I can buy it. And also, you are putting reasonable amounts of pressure because you do have 10 damage available next turn with the weapon, and then Kronks can add 5. And I mean, that starts to get real scary for bloodyface. That being said, no time like the present to start putting as much pressure as possible here. Let's see what the Volpero Scoundrel gets.
It gets Mystery Choice.
Yeah, Demon Companion might summon a small thing, but
Nope.
Okay. It has the Outcast effect, but there's no demon in the hand for bloodyface.
Only
Unless a hotfix came in
Mechtherodon.
this morning and changed Lapidary to be a demon. I don't think that's the case.
I mean, you would play 2 Philosophy in every Soul Demon Hunter deck if Lapidary was a demon, I feel.
Right. No attack. Really holding it in case he gets opportunity for Blade Dance. I think he's anticipating some big minions here. Also, maybe wants to be careful about what Priest could be doing right back, but I think Eddie's just going to go for the counter offensive, and he is ready to pressure.
Yeah.
Bloodyface needs to draw Blade Dance right now, and even then it might not be enough to win the game. Ooh.
I mean, sure, he could push 12 damage this turn, but that 8/8's still going to be there once his Kane dies. And then there ain't nothing left.
Looking at Bloodyface's deck and seeing what he could really rip here, and it might just be Skola Gul'dan
How is it even possible?
into Skola Gul'dan. He just Bloodyface pass. He can't justify extending onto the board here with any minion without having his Blade Dance. And for Eddie,
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
oh geez.
Oh,
no!
No, 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 no.
He's back.
He's back.
He's got two hands. Once is not enough, TJ.
It's like close to lethal. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's gonna do it. Game number 2 over to Eddie's Priest. Anti-weapon tech coming up huge. If you are losing to weapon-based classes on ladder, and you love Priest, and you hate fun, go ahead and play Cobalt Sticky Finger and Ooze and raise that into your decks. It is working phenomenally.
And then watch yourself still lose to Stealth Rogue.
And lose
It
anyway in the
happens.
secret passage.
Yeah, it happens. Like you focus so hard on weapon tech that you're just like, what if they don't have weapons?
Right,
Then
the
I die.
rewards just get you and you don't have AoE.
You're like, oh, I got Acidic Swamp Ooze, Cobalt Sticky Finger on my mulligan. I'm good. Plays like Spy Mistress, Greyheart Sage, double Eviscerate, Sinister Strike. Cool. Probably not a good idea for ladder, but maybe if Bomb Warrior starts coming back in metagame. But for Eddie, worked out. So now Bloodyface's choice to try and counter, and he's got Dan.
Oh boy,
Priest
here we
Mirror,
go.
Highlander Priest Mirror.
And it's gotta be. It's gotta be because he can't
Yeah, I
queue
was
his
gonna
own
say.
warrior.
Yeah, you can't queue the warrior. And this matchup actually is huge for Bloodyface. Like the most important Priest Mirror of not his life,
The week.
but of the week. Yeah, there
The
you go.
month.
Sure, I could say the month. Yeah, unless he makes it to next week's final. But and I'm expecting all 16 players to bring Priest to Specialist. So it's just going to be non-stop
jeez.
Priest Mirrors all weekend long.
Woof.
Dan, I think I'm coming down with a cold a little bit. I don't know.
TJ, I don't think I can make it next week. I have homework that my dog needs to eat.
Well, we shall see. If everybody's expectations that everybody's going to bring Priest to Specialist, then that means everybody's just going to bring the thing that counters Priest to Specialist, which is
I
Priest.
mean, that means the one person that brought, combo, like some kind of way to beat Priest or some kind of pressure deck.
Yeah.
Would end up doing very well. But yeah, theoretically, if everyone brings one deck, the person that brings the deck that beats it will come out on top, because Priest is not infallible, contrary to what many people believe. If you look at the win rate data for a lot of Priest decks, it's actually a lot of losing matchups. I don't know if that's the case, though. It just seems like there's two kinds of decks that the Priests do struggle with, which is weapon-based aggression, which they seem to be shoring up a lot, and this is like on ladder. And combo decks, which I think a lot of players are just kind of messing up. Maybe people just bring Highlander Hunter next week, TJ. And just completely dunk any kind of Priest.
Yes, please. Yes, please. All right, so I guess we can kind of take a look at the differences in both these players' decks.
Yeah.
They are similar, though Bloodyface I do feel like has some slight edges, just because he has less weapon tech, like less anti-warrior tech. He's got Thought Steal, which Eddie doesn't. That can get him a little bit more value. He's also got Vulpure Scoundrel, which Eddie doesn't, so more value. And you go straight down the list, like card for card. Bloodyface just has a little bit more value, whereas Eddie has more like tech inclusions. He has Acidic Swamp Ooze, he has Cobalt Sticky Finger, and then he also has a Plague of Death, which I feel like is like a 50-50 choice if you look across all the lists for Grandmasters. That could help. But, I mean, at that point in the game, you're likely to have randomly generated a Plague of Death from something. So maybe it's going to be redundant in the list. But I'd give Bloodyface a slight edge, but because it's a Highlander Priest Mirror and because so many things can happen, it's 51-49 Bloodyface. But Bloodyface does play the Zephrys early. He's going to get the ramp going. He knows that he has Raised Dead in hand, so the Zephrys is quote-unquote protected. Because he can kind of curate his hand to get it back once it eventually dies.
Yeah, you know, we saw opportunities for Priest matchups, specifically the Mirror, to end pretty quickly if one player falls dramatically behind on tempo. I think this was what we saw in the finals for Europe with RDU versus Bunny Hopper, where like RDU just kind of had too much momentum and both players ended with like 15 cards in their deck.
That was a 45-minute game, Dan.
I know,
yes,
but I'm just saying sometimes
it seemed like, yes, it ended because one player got ahead on tempo, which happened, yes. But it was still a 45-minute game.
Oh, wait. He has Mindrender Lucia. He can take the Zephrys away from Eddie.
He doesn't know it's there.
I know. I'm saying this is what he could do. Otherwise, I think he might just play... Okay, hold on. He wants to carry his pool for Raised Dead as well, right? So maybe it's just trade and develop, and then try his best to find an opportunity to drop Zephrys again later on. But Zephrys control definitely does seem to be a thing in this matchup.
No, it does, yeah. Because it is a pretty massive swing card, which that's kind of what you need in this matchup, is cards that can swing the game.
Right.
All right, what about now, Mindrender?
I mean, you have Wave of Apathy, so you can Cabal Acolyte, but you do have the Spell Burst on the Wretched Tutor, so does kind of conflict with what you're trying to do with it.
I must consider.
Okay, Raised Dead just to get the Zephrys back. I guess you could renew first. I think you want to renew first, yeah. I feel like we're kind of like thinking exactly the same kind of pace at Bloodyface right now.
Doesn't he want to trade first?
I don't know if he wants the Wretched. I don't know if he wants it back. She does seem pretty wretched and kind of strict.
Quickly.
Holy Nova would kill the Imprisoned Vile Fiend because of the Spell Burst. Then he could renew after. No time to actually look meaningfully at the spells. Heal does get value anyways. Oh man, Zephrys was hovered over briefly from Eddie, but no such value, and now Bloodyface can just steal it with the Wave of Apathy.
Yep.
And Eddie does not have a response to it. And here's the tempo that we're kind of talking about, the tempo line from Bloodyface, and he's also dumping his hand up to the point where Mindrender Lucia will be tough for Eddie, or rather, like, for Eddie to respond to, right? Because he doesn't actually have too many plays when he switches. Oh, yeah, destroying the Mind Flayer. Wow, Mind Flayer and Zephrys come back. That's pretty good set of cards.
Yeah,
for Raised Dead, TJ.
That's sick. That is, like, almost ideal.
What?
That is very sick.
Oof. Okay, renew. Can look for something better to play.
Shadow Madness probably has the most value in a matchup like this.
I'm thinking, how good is Mind Control in the Priest Mirror? Because what Mind Control does when you're ahead on the board in a mirror like Priest is that it sets you one turn ahead of your opponent, that they have to react to whatever you do. So you push damage, they play something like a taunt, then you Mind Control and you push damage, and then they have to react.
Yeah.
Eddie, by the way, has Zephyrus and Lucia just like bloodyface now. Oh, has his own Cabal Acolyte to steal one of bloodyface's minions. I am curious too what Zephyrus offers in this kind of position with 5 mana remaining.
Yeah. Also, the Wave of Apathy is kind of wasted in the situation, because if you just have one spell, you'd steal a minion. 5 mana with that board, everything's 5 health or above, so it wouldn't offer Chaos Nova. It would probably offer you something for tempo or something to do next turn, like Twisting Nether, Temple Enforcer, and
Like Brawl? I don't know.
Brawl, Cabal Shadow Priest.
Oh, would it offer you a Kodo?
Oh, Stampeding Kodo. This might be one of those rare Stampeding Kodo appearances, Dan. Unfortunately, we'll never know.
Dance, puppet.
No.
Dance.
It is not that. But, Bloodyface finds his own Galakron, so now he won't fall too far behind in value.
Yep.
It'd be disastrous if he loses out on that. It's a big tempo option being played for Bloodyface, and because he has Zephyrus, he could end up just ending the game soon. This is actually quite an action-packed Priest Mirror, TJ.
Yes, it is. But like, once you get to the later stages of the game and you have multiple options for building boards and removing, like, it usually slows down. But this board from Bloodyface actually feels pretty tough to remove, and he knows that there's a Zephyrus there. So he might have to play inefficient because he has to respect Bloodlust. And Bloodyface also has a Shadow Madness. So Shadow Madness and Bloodlust is a real threat right now.
Yes. I wonder if Eddie maybe wants to even look at the hand with Madame Lazul and see if he can play around that possibility.
What's he going for? Lightning Storm?
Shadow Madness right
okay.
back just to take it. Wow.
All right, Zephyrus, Shadow
Definitely
Madness,
not
Bloodlust.
optimal.
Oh no, you can't do it.
Oh, wait. Shadow Madness on the Cabal,
Cabal.
Acolyte.
That is 6, 7, 8 plus 12. 9, 10, 12. It's not lethal.
8, 12. No, you get 10 because the Shadow Madness minion can go face.
Yeah, but then there's 12 damage from the Bloodlust.
20. Okay, so it's not lethal this turn.
Yeah.
Is it like... So the part of the issue, too, is Bloodyface knows that if he takes it with Shadow Madness, he eventually gives it back because it's not going to die this turn.
Not too quickly.
Okay, so... does end up getting the Shadow Madness on the minion, but he doesn't... This definitely felt like kind of weak in terms of like what he really wanted to be setting up for the lethal here, but Eddie doesn't have a way to answer it. Like, he's using Time Rip on his Zephyrus. That's not usually what you want to be doing. And he also gives back the Acolyte at the end, even though he's used up the Spell Burst.
That was kind of a weird turn.
Yeah, it was unusual, and I think bloodyface couldn't find like a real good way to push. He can Lucia and steal the Zephrys. You can also just Zephrys and try to clear the board here. Wait, what does Zephrys offer for you to clear the board?
For 4 mana? Nothing. Shadow Flame. But that doesn't clear the board.
Clears a lot of the board.
Yeah.
Actually, it does clear most of the board because you can use to attack. I can't get past the Cabal Acolyte.
Yeah. But a Holy Nova plus Penance also isn't bad. Allows him to heal back up. And, you know, he's stabilizing. Both players are kind of equal on resources since they both have a Zephrys and Mind Render. And once bloodyface plays Galakron, they'll both have a Galakron. So they have Mind Render, Zephrys, and some change.
This kind of information, by the way, for Eddie is actually extremely powerful. He knows Galakron's in the hand, so he could next turn, if his opponent's not playing Galakron, he could Mind Render Lucia and play Galakron, and now bloodyface doesn't have access to one. But, you know, bloodyface, of course, knows that there's a likelihood that he understood that, so
yeah,
goes for it. Very good, just to avoid, like, falling very far behind because of that.
This is so weird, the Mind Render plus Zephrys in both hands. The interaction. Right.
What? That's the exact same range that bloodyface has.
Exact same.
What?
Zephrys in my play. And there's been a lot of minions that have died now. Like, but then it was reasonable, right? Because I think he'd only had like 4 minions die, maybe.
That is definitely not what I was expecting.
Okay.
Okay, so
but now
I think
it gets awkward. You're a Power Skeletal Dragon?
Time is running out.
Guess so, yeah. Okay, the Mind Flayer cards just to get more tempo.
Alright. I mean, that comes back with the Spell Burst.
Mummy needs 5 more minutes.
Your wish is my
Alright,
Black
Zephrys.
Knight.
More tempo options. As he is sensing the beginning of the end here, trying to push that damage.
Oh, Mind Render, Zephrys, Bloodlust next turn. It could happen.
It very much could happen. But Eddie will clear off this board with this Zephrys. It'll offer him removal to use up his mana here. That's like the big challenge, is that he knows Mind Render is in the hand of bloodyface.
So he wants to try and dump multiple things, but if he wanted to dump like both Zephrys, for instance, it'd be impossible because the first Zephrys doesn't know that you want to dump the other Zephrys. So he's going to offer you expensive cards thinking he's helping you out.
Right. I think this is actually pretty tough because if you just play Brawl and like Hero Power or whatnot, you kind of know what's going to happen. So Twisting Nether is the best way to deal with the board, though, because you can't afford to die here.
Yeah.
Mind Render Lucia costing 3 means that Zephrys will give bloodyface 5 more mana to play different stuff. But, I mean, looking at the quality of hands here, Eddie looks like he's really well positioned at the moment.
Yep.
As long as he can stabilize. bloodyface tried to go for an aggressive line, and it just doesn't look like it's going to pan out.
The good thing about it is, like, once you go for an aggressive line and fail, usually both players have used up a similar amount of resources to get to that point.
A simple spell.
And so then you kind of like start from scratch. Like, look at this situation here. Now both players' hands still look very similar. It's just Eddie's at a lower life total. So Eddie still has to respect that. It's not like once he stabilizes, he just magically is at 30 health again. He's still got to be a little afraid, and he's got to match everything that bloodyface does still. Like, playing Ysera Unleashed here is very scary, because you're not killing off anything from the board. Then a Mind Render being in hand means that you have to think about what the Zephyrus lethals that are possible with 5 mana available.
Yeah, those make sense, and Eddie now has to kind of just partition his resource to make sure that he doesn't die, because in terms of the quality of the value, it's much higher. I'm trying to imagine a line like, because in these kinds of priest matchups, the big limitation is mana, like what you can be doing and responding to your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
The resources is never really an issue because you have access to Galakron's hero power, which allows you to generate a lot of value over time. Oh, jeez. Aeon Reaver.
I mean, that's a good tool to have, right? Because big thing comes down, Aeon Reaver is what allows you to maybe come back. Big cards you're kind of looking for, I feel, are... well, I mean, Mind Render is always an interesting one. I really hope more Mind Renders don't come out, because that gets really complicated. Good turn to try and use the initiation, as it is expensive.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty sizable board from bloodyface. Actually, kind of scary. Shadow Word Death plus the Cobalt Spellkin, and try to maintain a position where you feel comfortable enough to drop the Ysera Unleashed. Unless, no, it's definitely not time to play it right now. Oh. No, definitely not. It's just because he needs to hold on to that Wave of Apathy.
Yeah, it feels like he has to make sure that there's absolutely no way he can die. Radiant is actually pretty good, because that makes him feel a lot more comfortable about playing Ysera Unleashed. Even though it has 0 effect on board, it's a good way to fill this mana here. And does give him a little added layer of comfort.
Okay, well, maybe we can get some value off of like the minions that can be played. Like Sand of Waterbearer could heal the minion now. Okay, Psychopomp?
There's been so much stuff that's died.
Yeah, it looks like there's just lower value, but the nice thing is bloodyface has strength in numbers. So again, if there's an opportunity where bloodyface can get ahead on board here by just power of the quantity of minions, Eddie doesn't have too much tools in terms of removing stuff. He's got some in the form of Zephyrus.
Time is running out.
My player Cars is always good to have. Okay. Nice little preemptive trade just in case Sandhoof Waterbearer picks it off, just like you said. Now you play Ysera Unleashed.
I mean, I feel like eventually you want to feel safe enough to do so, but I think Eddie says that he'd rather just prioritize making sure to disable any kind of way for bloodyface to potentially win while holding on to his Zephyrus. Well, the Shadow Priest stealing the Water Bearer and then getting some nice trades could actually end up just giving him such an overwhelming amount of sticky board presence that now bloodyface can't respond back. And we talked about the power of mind control. Cabal Shadow Priest, big tempo plays is basically that.
Yeah. In these moments, I wonder how many practice matches of Highlander Priest mirrors these players have played, or if they realize that it's not worth it and they just have to kind of trust their like absolute Hearthstone instinct, you know?
Right. Agreed. And I think, well, at this point, doesn't seem like he's generating much value off of his Galakron's hero power. He's hit the Dragon Maw, and that's just not enough, right? Just lifesteal with a 1/4 just doesn't match up to Cabal Shadow Priest and Sandhook Water Bearers.
No. And there's not like too many like creative ways to try and craft win conditions in this matchup. You really just have to hit the button each turn and hope that the game gives you one.
Yeah, wow. I mean, this looks pretty desperate for bloodyface to try to fight back on the board. Eddie's now back in the driver's seat, and I think now DJ feels like a good Ysera turn.
We keep saying that,
because you don't want to. You don't want to go too late in the game, right? You don't want the portals to be stacking too quickly onto each other. Otherwise, you get them all at the same time, and then you open yourself up to having things like removal. Like your opponent can play the Mind Flayer and the Zephyrs, and then like the Brawl.
Yeah. Alternatively, if you do wait, bloodyface isn't playing hard removal. Well, AoE hard removal except for Soul Mirror. He doesn't have Plague of Death. Eddie's the one with Plague of Death. There hasn't been really any randomly generated spell nonsense that's happened. There hasn't been like too many like set the Bellweaver into like raised head, set the Bellweaver, that kind of thing. Where like everything that you're counting for is random spell, a bunch of random spells and a bunch of random minions. So I could see it being played early, but I mean, it feels like he's just trying to make sure that he hero powers and make sure that he puts as much power on the board right now as possible. Mm-hmm. And then Ysera is the backup. Not necessarily thinking about timing of portals, but timing of like guaranteed power right now. Well, because bloodyface has a bunch of garbage in his hand. He feels a lot better about doing this.
And now I think he's like starting to be able to contextualize what he's been like waiting for on Eddie's side. He's like looking at the value of the opponent's hand. It's like, whoa, this is so much better than my hand.
Yeah.
Comparing notes here. But he's like, I can't believe it. But the Zephyrs here can definitely deal with Eddie's board. Oh, Shadowward Ruin.
Yeah, I suppose. Better than better like leaving up your opponent's stand-up water bear and having a 4-2 is probably worse than just killing it off and not having the 4-2. In the case of Big Game Hunter, I mean.
Right.
It was more mana efficient though. Literally doesn't matter.
Right. It does feel like this kind of play from bloodyface is more of an act out of desperation, and Eddie is in pretty firm control over the resource board. The Murazon does make things also kind of interesting, and the pace that can be set. Looks like we have a slight disconnect. Just kind of reconnect here. Thankfully, we have the Essential Pause feature on it. And so, with this, from this point on, I think we're like kind of safe to assume that there's no tempo line available. I think there's a breaking point in the Priest mirror where It doesn't seem like either player can be super aggressive to end the game quickly. And so now both players kind of healed back full, almost having like, too many cards and resources to play. Remember that these hands are going to swap afterwards. I mean, not only swing is pretty good.
I mean, it has 1 health though, so.
Yeah, but that 1 health's so hard to deal with as Priest.
Yeah. He's got Shadow Word Ruin, Shadow Word Death to deal with it. Let's play Murazon. There was a lot of stuff played. Alright, so there's full information now.
Yeah, and I think that this might be bloodyface thinking about Dragon Queen Alexstrasza as just like his out. I think we're actually kind of close to the end game here for the Priest Mirror. I don't know if we started just yet, but like we might be in the situation where Eddie has accrued such a big amount of resources. Bloodyface knows exactly what's in Eddie's hand. Eddie's hand pretty much knows what's in Bloodyface's hand outside this Dragon Queen, and I think Bloodyface might have to take a little bit of a risk and be more aggressive onto the board and develop this Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and try to make something of it. Whatever dragon he can get to play for tempo. Okay, instead, Murazon is also a lot of stats. Something.
It's difficult. I feel like you got to see what's in there. Deathwing! Not yet.
Wow, okay.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet, but it's 1 mana. Which means he can play a bunch of stuff and then Deathwing, and then he can refill his hand with Galakrond.
True. I mean, his hand is pretty garbage right now, so...
What about?
You can make some trades and just play Murazon and just get a 8/8 and a 5/4. He knows there's Shadow Word Ruin, so that actually doesn't have much value.
Right. I think the Murazon here is...
Oh, you can see what the...
Wait. Is he sure about that? The Mind Render or Lucia?
I'm certainly not sure about it.
Like, what would you even want to do when you play the Mind Render and you know that he's holding Murazon and Shadow Word Death? I guess you can Shadow Word Death right back. Okay. Interested, TJ. Mark me as interested.
Okay, you're just gonna Shadow Word Ruin, right? Or dump both, yeah, dump both.
Yeah. Exactly. And he knows about the Deathwing too, so he can play around it on the following turn, but also disable his ability to remove it. I think Eddie also has recognized that Bloodyface doesn't have the tools to deal with it because Eddie didn't have the tools to deal with it himself. Until he drew Time Rip, maybe that changes stuff? No. If he plays Murazon, he will actually kill off that 8 health.
Yeah, but he won't do enough to survive on board. Because there's still 11 damage. So he needs to see what's in this Disciple of Galakrond. It's a light well, not enough. What about Time Rip? Time Rip into Cabal Acolyte? Nope.
I mean...
That's it.
Is there a hero power that could probably save him?
Not for 2 mana.
No.
Oh, the Devout Pupil!
How is it so expensive? He played so many cards, but that's going to do it. Eddie wins game 3 in the Priest Mirror. The pivotal game that I think will determine, most likely, who ends up taking this best of 5 because Bloodyface really needed to get that Priest off the board for his Warrior.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I said earlier, there wasn't like any Sethic Veilweaver nonsense, so it was just minions fighting minions that pretty much that whole game. That's why that Devout Pupil only cost 5. That was essentially, it's one spell that he played on, I guess on friendly minions that game, but still usually see more than that. But yeah, he made that aggressive push, didn't pay off, and then all the random Priest minions that he got just weren't good enough, and a valiant effort at the end, but that Priest Mirror was pretty huge because now he's got Warrior left and he's going up against the ultimate weapon destruction Priest, which is probably the worst matchup that you could possibly imagine. We saw it yesterday with, I think, is even a better version of the deck against Priest, which is the Galakron version from that Briarthorn brought, and he still got crushed, absolutely crushed. Now things have to line up. If Zephyrus, if he gets bombs early and Zephyrus is not active, you are limited on the sheer amount of weapon removal you can do. But
all right, well, I mean,
still bad.
We've seen some pretty nice comebacks from Warrior before in terms of making it really big for the series. I believe bloodyface even started off his weekend with a reverse sweep with Warrior, despite having some unfavorable matchups. So I think he can do this. It's just tough because if bloodyface draws weapon removal, we're going to see a repeat of yesterday, where it was Monsanto versus Briarthorn. And it was just, it was just super duper dominant and one-sided for the Priest.
Yeah. But, I mean, if bloodyface wins this one, he's in an okay spot going into the last matchup against Demon Hunter. But it is certainly a very uphill battle, and an uphill battle that is going to be very frustrating for bloodyface.
Yeah, well, I mean, here we go into potentially the final game of the week. Eddie has 2 forms of weapon destruction day he's going to be looking for, but that opening hand is not great. Meanwhile, honestly, not a bad opening hand at all for bloodyface.
Yeah, it could be better, obviously, because he plays double Corsair Cache. The second Corsair Cache will be dead, and he really doesn't want to see Wrench Caliber here. Doesn't find it. So now off to the races, and he, I'm certain he's going to want to start shuffling in bombs. There he is.
All right.
My man. And he's got the raised dead as well, so he doesn't even want to play minions.
That's right. He comes back for more. 2 hands allows him to dual wield the weapons. I mean, interestingly enough, though, bloodyface.
Wow.
Able to swing with both of the weapons before, with Anchor at least.
Is he gonna... Okay. Bloodyface is... I feel like he's definitely not gonna equip the Wrench Caliber. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for that one. Sky Captain Crag, sure, he's a 2-3, but you want to at least get 1 bomb in there before... Is that a news? There it is.
Jeez. Well, it kind of depends, right? Like, it could be one of these things where bloodyface... Is there a way for him to avoid playing weapons? No. It doesn't seem like he wants to...
That's the whole deck!
I know, it's the whole deck.
It's removal, card draw that synergizes with weapons, and weapons. Alright, no weapons.
I like this.
Gotta lead the charge.
And Eddie's shaking his head. Actually, yes, because...
TJ!
He could steal it back!
He got sticky finger, sticky finger. Oh my gosh. What is happening? TJ, that is it. You put sticky finger in your own deck, so if they steal it, you can steal it right back. If Eddie knows this, he should not actually play a sticky finger. He should play Acidic Swamp Ooze to just destroy it.
Well,
none of us can have it.
He doesn't have it in his deck. That's from the Sky Raider. There's no way he'll ever know.
Yeah, but there's a possibility.
I must
Sure.
consider.
I'll give you that.
Okay, is there any other play besides this? Besides the weapon destruction play? I don't think so. You want to cut it off so they don't get multiple shuffles in and card draw effects.
Also, he doesn't really want to play other minions. Because he wants to at least get 1 weapon destruction back from his race dead. Because there's Wrench Caliber, there's a second Wrench Caliber, then there's the Horde Pillager Wrench Caliber. And then there's the secret but incredibly powerful third option of upgrade Dr. Krasinov. Whew.
Jeez. Well, I mean,
Oh no, now the Kobold. Oh no, now this one's gonna get oozed, and then he won't be able to steal it back with the Kobold Sticky Finger.
Yeah. Missed connections, TJ. Wait, no. Maybe he gets it back because of Horde Pillager.
But then he has to buff it
Bloodyface
up,
would
or
play
he's
Horde
gonna swing with
Pillager,
it.
gets it. Eddie revives it with the Raised Dead, gets Sticky Finger again. Sticky Fingers. And then we go from there. You don't think? can't dream big?
All right, so here's what
DJ, let me live my life.
Here's what Bloodyface has to do. Okay, because he has Kobold Sticky Finger, I think he. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't make sure these minions don't die. But now Eddie has ensured that his Kobold Sticky Finger is going to die. Bloodyface can't leave this minion with lifesteal up.
Right. That makes sense. All right, well, I mean, Bloodyface does end up having to deal with this weapon destruction, and we do have a couple of bombs shuffled in, but we still have yet to figure out if Bloodyface has any alternative win condition. That Apotheosis is super nasty, so he's got to kill that off. And then Eddie actually has opportunities to start developing meaningful counteroffensive soon. Not with the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Since he's got multiple copies of bombs in it. Cabal Shadow Priest does end up developing pretty decent amount of power onto the board and stealing that pirate.
Without Galakron, Dan, he doesn't even have like a backup plan.
A simple spell should do.
I'm thinking real hard, TJ. I'm thinking real hard and seeing the same thing that you're seeing right now, which is a lot of situational cards. But Eddie has Horde Pillager and the Cobalt Sticky Finger. He himself can start playing Bomb Warrior right back. He can play Horde Pillager, get a Wrench Caliber, swing at it. Bloodyface can steal it back, and then Eddie can steal it back. I don't know. Actually, that's not true, because when you steal it back, you swing with it. This is so strange.
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
I feel like he has to like upgrade it this turn to have a chance because he needs to be able to Kobold Sticky Finger it back. Doesn't find upgrade, so do you not swing?
No, you definitely want to swing.
Nope.
Oh, right.
Well, one, Eddie's hand is full, so he doesn't want additional chance for him to draw a bomb. Two, he knows that it's very likely Kobold Sticky Finger got put back in hand from the Raised Dead.
I mean...
Oh, he's baiting him! He's baiting him! The ultimate bait! He said that was an error because he didn't swing.
Well,
But he's just trying to get
like,
Eddie to Kobold Sticky Finger because then he Kobold Sticky Fingers it back and then can buff up the weapon and keep shuffling bombs.
Okay. I think that's... that's pretty clever.
This is 8 deep chest, Dan.
Whoa! All right.
You are the prisoner in your own body.
This is brilliant. If it works out well, because it does require Eddie to draw the bombs. I was thinking about it's like worth it to shuffling because you know that's like small percentage chance he draws the bomb. You want to get him in, but now it's exactly as you described.
Show you who's boss. My stick now.
And he's like, oh, okay. That's why he didn't sway. Okay, it makes sense.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now he's digging for an upgrade right now. Upgrade.
Oh, he just bombed.
That's a bomb. That's not an upgrade. That Corsair Cash is dead. That's a bomb.
Oh my.
That's a Zephyrus. Okay, no attack. He's got Captain Greenskin next turn. He's still got potential for a good amount of bombs. Still in this.
TJ. Horde Pillager and go in on him.
Yeah, no, Horde Pillager, go in.
Yeah. I love it. Horde Pillager, Cabal Acolyte, and Radiance. I don't know if you want to actually Radiance. You can, because you can swing at the 4-3. And then heal up to 30. And then you have a pretty dominant board. Priest has to Brawl. Or sorry, Warrior has to Brawl. What's an alternative line here? Because it sets up a lot of power, and it kind of forces Bomb Warrior to play pretty reactively to your hand. I guess he's holding so many cards that you've anticipated Brawl, so is there a way that you can bait it out without actually committing a lot of resources? I think that's probably the question. I do like Horde Pillager this turn, though. It's pretty appetizing.
Start hitting him. You can also like Horde Pillager All Shadow Priest.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, too.
All Shadow Priest first. Means no Horde Pillager.
Right.
Just to heal him.
I mean, it is a Horde Pillager, but through the Mind Flayer. Yeah, so this should want Bloodyface to Brawl, right? This should bait it out.
Yeah.
Okay, Horde Pillager survives.
Upstairs.
Yes. Need to get these bombs shuffled in. Somehow, Bloodyface has found a way, because of his random generation of a pirate, an ability to actually find a way to shuffle bombs reliably against a priest deck that's designed to stop the weapons from swinging because of destruction or stealing.
Bloodyface has to be pretty worried, though.
I mean, yeah, for obvious reasons, but
must consider.
He's not actually, like, he's getting actually close to the bombs himself, TJ. Another thing to consider is, you know, the fact that Bloodyface might just die the bomb pressure himself.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. He's got 5 cards left, but in his bottom 5 cards is Upgrade Dr. Krasinov. So he's got additional bombs. He does have removal. He's got Zephyrus in a pinch. Maybe he's got Zephyrus in a pinch. It's not guaranteed because there will be bombs. But there's no like damage from hand from Eddie's deck outside of the Horde Pillager. So
oh my god, he's gonna kill him with his own wrench calibers.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
So beautiful, DJ.
So there's only one bomb
so
in the deck
annoying
now,
to watch.
right? There's only one bomb?
Okay.
Yes, because Zephyrus is active. There's only one bomb.
Right.
But there will be 2. So Bloodyface, with that little cards left in deck, wants to make sure that he's at 12 at the... No, it doesn't matter, because the swing from Wrench Caliber. So he is going to have to fade bombs unless he gains armor here. He could go Armorsmith, Blade Storm, Armor Up? Armorsmith. No. He can Lord Barov, Armorsmith, Blade Storm.
I wonder.
He could also swing into the Hothead and then Armorsmith, Bladestorm anyways.
He doesn't want to swing.
Yeah,
He wants the upgrade before he swings, or the Dr. Krasinov.
Yeah, for sure.
or
It's a tough
Blade Storm,
situation,
Armor
no
Smith,
matter
Armor
what.
Smith, Blade Storm. That's the most armor you can gain because it gets all 4 on double Armor Smith. That's better. Yeah, that's much
Okay.
better.
So he gains a bunch of life. Gains 8. Now 12, 16. Jeez.
All right, so now he's safe from bomb damage. So now it's just about lining up his own bombs. He also has a Blastmaster Boom in the bottom 4 cards in his deck. So he's got Zephyrus, Blastmaster Boom, Upgrade, Dr. Krasinov.
Life and hope
Mhm.
of world fight.
But
The tools
both
are there,
Blade
the
Storms
pieces.
being used. I mean, both Blade Storms being used means that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is harder to remove now. So he has to
Got
have
Death
Lord
Wing.
Baroff.
All right, so that's the last, or no, there's one more bomb after this. There's Blastmaster Boom.
Okay. Yeah, he does
my
have
gosh.
Deathwing as well. Blastmaster Boom.
There are 3 bombs in deck, I believe.
Yep.
So full Blastmaster Boom, but this is, Eddie got Plague of Death. So
Right.
he hits face for 8,
Plague
then
of
Plagues of
Death.
Death.
Oh, bomb being drawn.
Double Radiance, though, plus Galakrond from Eddie. There's no way bloodyface pieced together enough damage. There's no way.
He's trying. He is trying his best. Wait, does he want to kill him with Soul Mirror? TJ.
Oh! Soulmare!
TJ!
He won! His cards are green! He won! I completely forgot about that. That's insane! Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. What? That
Hell yeah,
was
man.
swag.
He
That
actually
was
bounced
awesome.
over the Plague of Death and then, like, realized Soul Mirror and was like, oh wait, he's very likely dead because there's 1 bomb left because he doesn't have board space to summon all of them. But 5 bombs dealing 12 damage. Yeah, I'm
What
taking those
an
odds.
ending.
That was
Well,
sick.
Eddie is your champion, 3-1 for this week, and looks like Canada does end up reigning supreme. Eddie with a great job as we had 3 out of 4 players actually. That was used to be part of Lazarus Gaming back last year.
Mhm.
And you know it's pretty interesting to see this rivalry develop. You know, Bloodyface can't win them all, and the weekend does belong to Eddie, which has got to feel good. Last week, Eddie came into Sunday. You know, kind of got kicked out of the top 4 by Language Hackers lineup, who seemed to counter him, and now Eddie seemed to be gaining the edge. Who will reign supreme of Americas this season? It really does feel wide open amongst a small group of players with some challengers to the throne. But you gotta love it. I feel like Eddie really stepped it up this week in particular.
I mean, the Turtle Mage sweeping Bloodyface in the first series that they played in the group stage, and then Bloodyface having to ban it in the second series that they played because of how powerful it seems to be for him, and then like running into rough matchups because he didn't win the pre-smear. Like Eddie it seemed like he had decks cornered a lot, and it's very cool to see because Turtle Mage countered Priest, whereas his Priest countered Warrior. So because of that, he had like a flex ban. So decks with the aggressive rogues, it just didn't do anything to him because he could just ban that away. So very solid line of construction. A nice brave choice with the Turtle Mage. Just honestly, one of the most well-deserved victories I've seen in a very long time.
All right. Well, I mean, that is the best way to end the weekend, would you say? Just a nice explosion to wrap up today's historical fact with the greatest explosion known to the world in our short history. And, of course, second to the Bomb Warrior and Priest matchup, which was quite explosive in its own right. And so with that, we are done. We only have 1 more week of Swiss games left. One last weekend for players to put themselves in the best position possible, for Division A and Division B, which has implications for playoffs and relegation. So don't miss it. Make sure to hit that bell here on youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports and go to playhearthstone.com/esports to get all the information about standings and deck lists. And you too can also stomp the ladder with Priest, Warrior, and any of these classes that you've seen. That's it from us, from Frodo and TJ, and everybody here, part of the Grandmasters program. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.